I leave after 7.
You can stay.
I'm not staying for
One day
40
to get
minutes.
No, because I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
I'll be the one after.
You can break rice.
Yeah.
Walk
You'll definitely die on the way.
I'll sleep with the sheep.
Anything else?
Ride a sheep. I mean, I can. I don't want to. That's not what
You might not have this form put on it, so I'm saying that.
You what?
Because he didn't ask Rob about it.
Wait, so he could just get a form and leave it?
Wait, what did you do?
Debbie. It's like. Now your mom's. How long did you keep the email?
How are the clubs yesterday?
Nice to go near that.
Are they better than ours?
Maybe have some fun. It goes down to a 3 on.
What?
It goes down to a 3. I'll tell you one. There's a
Is it nice?
All right, yeah, equations to solve. Worksheet deals with solving equations, variables, so on and so forth. Questions you have on any of the problems that we dealt with? Once again, solutions have been provided for you. So it's one of those things where we've been through the class already. Solutions are provided for you. You need to check your solutions. And if you have questions, you need to bring it to class. If we don't have questions, I'm going forward. Things you need me to go through, problems you need me to go through. Yeah.
10.
Number 10. Number 10, we have 2x minus 2 plus 3. I'm going to factor out the 2 there. So we have 2 times x minus 2 is equal to 1/3. 1/3 plus 5 over 6 x minus 2. I'm going to factor out the 6 there. So I have all the factors down there. I can then sit there and look at, I need to find the greatest common factor between all of our terms here. Typically, I will look at numbers first. I have a 2, a 3, and a 6. So we get a common denominator between 2, 3, and 6, which is what, Ethan? 6. And then I can throw in an x minus 2. So this is what we are going to go through each and every term and multiply each and every term by that. First one goes through, multiply, the x minus 2's cancel, leaving us with 6 times 2. The second, the x minus 2's cancel. We have 2 and 6. That will cancel to a 3. So we have plus 3 times 3. Over on the right-hand side, we have the 3 and 6 will cancel to give us 2. And we're still left with an x minus 2. And then the last one, everything cancels. So we have just a plus 5. So we're left with 12 plus 9 is equal to 2x minus 4 plus 5. Combine our like terms, 21 equals 2x plus 1. We can subtract a 1 over and divide by 2. So x would give us a value of 10. This step here is probably the most important one because if you try to skip this step right here, you'll tend to start making mistakes. Okay, I like to write this step out so I don't try to do too many things at one time. Other questions? Yeah.
Number 13.
Number 13. We want to solve for t. We want to get t by itself. We have multiplication by p. So we can eliminate our multiplication by p by dividing by p. There's once again a couple ways to do this one. So we have a divided by p is equal to 1 plus rt. We can subtract our 1 from both sides. So we have a divided by p minus 1 is equal to rt. Okay, we need to solve for t. Need to solve for t here. So we can divide by r, but if we divide by r, we're going to get something like this, a over p minus 1 all over r, which is a complex fraction. So you can think of this also as we can multiply both sides by 1 over r. So if we multiply by both sides by 1 over r, then we have a over rp minus 1 over r is equal to t. There's a bunch of ways of being able to write this. This is fine. This is fine as a solution. We can get a common denominator of p or rp. We can multiply top and bottom by p here. So we have a over rp minus p over rp. And then we can combine this together to be a minus p divided by rp. Once again, this would be fine to have it in that form. I just continued to simplify it down and give you other options. Other questions? Oh, this is your homework. We can keep this. This will be your homework also. Grab the wrong thing. Then we get to venture into the world of story problems. Venture into the world of story problems. And story problems is a matter of reading statements, manipulating statements, and developing algebraic expressions and also equations to be able to solve problems. The sum of two numbers is 78. One number is 6 less than the other number. What are the two numbers? Okay, we're looking for two numbers, the first number and the second number. Now we need to introduce a variable to what we're dealing with here. We're trying to find two numbers. We don't know what the two numbers are. So I'm going to say my first number is n. We know they add up to 78. I'm going to use that to be able to develop my equation, because if I can find representation for these two numbers, I can add these two numbers together to get 78. That will give me an equation. We can take a look at our second statement here. It says one number is 6 less than twice the other number. So if this is one number, if I take a look at my second number can be 6 less than twice the other number. Well, if I'm looking at twice the other number, what are we doing when I say twice? What mathematical operation are we doing when I say twice? By 2. We're multiplying by 2. So we can take our other number 2, our n, and multiply it by 2. So we have 2n. That's twice the other number. But we have to be 6 less than that, so what are we going to do with the 2n? Subtract 6. Now looking at my first phrase within the sentence, the sum of these two numbers is 78. When I talk about the sum, what are we doing to the two numbers when I talk about the sum? What mathematical operation? Adding. So we're adding the two numbers. So we take the sum, we are adding the two numbers. So let's add these two numbers, n plus 2, n minus 6, and they have to add up to 78. Is means equal to. So now we have an equation to solve. Go ahead and solve the equation for n, and then find the second number. Noah, what do you get for n?
28.
28, and then the second number, then you get what?
50.
50?
Yes.
Good with that? We should add those two numbers up together, and they should have 78, and they do. The sum of two numbers is 87. One number is 6 more than twice the other number. What are the two numbers? Go ahead and solve. grades or somebody around you. That's what you come up with.
60,
And
27.
27. And if I add those two up, they add up to 87. Two planes leave an airport traveling in opposite direction. One plane travels 470 kilometers per hour, the other plane travels 430 kilometers an hour. How long will it take them to be 2,250 miles apart? Rate times time is equal to distance. Rate times time is equal to distance. Now, what I like to do with these is I like to set up little tables to make it a little bit easier for me to visualize. Where in all these tables, I will be able to multiply across the top to equal my last column. Once again, you've been through enough of my classes. I like pictures. This is a picture that helps me out. So on my rate, plane 1, 470. My rate of plane 2 is 430. I don't know my time. That's what I'm asking for here. How long will it take? So I'm looking for a time. What you have is you have two planes that take off from an airport. One traveling in one direction, one traveling in a second direction. At some point, they will have a distance of 2,250, that should be kilometers. we want to find how long it takes them to get there. So we don't know how long the time is. But I know they're both traveling the same amount of time, t. So if I multiply across, and plane 1 will travel 470 t. Plane 2 will be 430 t. This will be their distance at any time t. After 1 hour, after 2 hours, after 3 hours, I can find their distance that they have traveled. So after t number of hours, this has traveled 470 t and 430 t. I want to find the time where they have traveled a total of 2250 kilometers. So what can I do with my two distances here, 470 t and 430 t, to set up an equation? What can we do with those distances? Add them together. Because this is 470 t here, this is 430 t here. That distance, at some point, they're going to add together to be 2,250 t. So we can add these together. 470 t plus 430 t equals 2250. That gives us an equation that we could solve. Bless you. So go ahead and solve for t. Page would come up with 2.5, and that would be in hours. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours are going to be 2250 apart. Karen notices her husband left for the airport without a briefcase. Her husband drives 40 miles per hour and has a 15-minute head start. If Karen with the briefcase drives 60 miles per hour and the airport is 45 miles away, will she catch her husband before he arrives at the airport? So this is the house, this is the airport. The husband takes off, has a 15-minute head start, but he's traveling 40 miles per hour. The wife starts driving at 60 miles per hour. Will she catch him before he gets to the airport? So we have husband, we have wife. Husband's rate we know is 40. Wife's rate is 60. Now in the first problem, the planes took off at the same time and traveled at the same time. So we had t for both of our times. This one leaves 15 minutes, has a 15-minute head start. Yes. Hello. Doing well. Going well. Teaching like a banshee. Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? I was going to try to use it today because I have people absent, but so hopefully I'm using it correctly. I will try, yes. If everybody's here, I'm not screencastifying. If people are absent, I'm screencastifying. Sure. All right, thanks. So our time. One has a 15-minute head start. So what can our times be? What can our times be? We can't just put T and T. What do we put for our times? Hmm?
45 and 60.
For the times? That's your rates. 40 and 60.
15.
15.
Minutes.
They're just traveling 15 minutes. If one's traveling 15 minutes longer, it got a 15-minute head start. So if I relate it to T minus 15 and T, now which one would be T minus 15? The wife would be T minus 15. We could do one of two things. If we do the husband would be T plus 15. See, I like doing that because I had the addition sign in there then rather than the subtraction. So I'm going to say the wife is T, and then the husband would be T plus 15, but we have one slight problem with the 15. We are in miles per hour, and this is 15 minutes. Have to be the same units. What's 15 minutes in an hour? 1/4. So we have T plus 0.25, or 1/4. If you want to use a fraction, 1/4, that's fine. The husband drives 15 minutes longer than the wife. Or the wife is driving 15 minutes less than the husband. So now we can multiply across where we have 60t here, and then we have 40 times t plus 0.25. Now what's the relationship between the distances? What's going to be the relationship between these two distances? In the first problem, we added two distances to get a total amount. But what's true with our distances here? Hmm? What's the wife trying to do? Beat her husband? Get the baseball out, we'll just beat him? Is she trying to beat him to the airport? Trying to catch him. Trying to catch up to him. So she's trying to initially catch up to him before he gets to the airport. So if he's initially trying to catch up to him, what's true about the distances? They're the same. They're equal. So 60t is going to equal 40t plus 0.25 because the distances are equal. So this now gives me an equation to be able to solve. How long does it take for the wife to catch him? What's the time that she travels? Sarah? 0.5, which would be 0.5 hours. Half hour. It takes a half hour for her to catch up. Now the question is, does she catch him before the airport? So how far did she travel before she caught up to him? What's the distance that she traveled before she caught up to him? How many miles? No. 30 miles. If I put t equals 0.5 in here, she traveled 30 miles. Well, the airport is 45 miles away, so she was able to catch up to him before he got to the airport. And likewise, I could put the 0.5 in here. If I have 40 times 0.75, I would still get my 30 miles. So they both traveled 30 miles before they caught up. Pharmacist needs 20% boric acid solution. How much 60% boric acid solution must be added to 7.5 of 8% boric acid solution to get the desired strength? Okay, this is your mixture problems now. So we have 20% boric acid. We have, I'm sorry, that's my bad. That's what we're trying to get. We have 60% boric acid. We have 8% boric acid. And our solution is 20%. We have quantity, we have percent, and we have an amount, a total amount. Our percent that we want for each one of these is what they give us here, 60%, 8%, and 20%. Our quantities, you have how much 60% boric acid solution must be added to 7.5 liters of 8% boric acid. So we're looking for how much of the boric acid, or 20%, must be added to 7.5%. Once again, nice thing about these tables, we can multiply across the top to equal. So we have 0.60x, and we have 0.08 times 7.5. So what we have here is we have this solution and this solution. We're adding 6%, 60% to 8% into a beaker. Okay, so we're getting the quantity from this and the quantity from this. What the 60%, we have 60 or 8% is not very strong. The 60% is pretty strong. So what we're going to get is we're going to get boric acid that we want a little bit stronger boric acid than 20% boric acid. Okay, so we mix these two quantities together to be able to get a 20%. Because the only thing that we have only thing we have access to is 60% here and 8% here. And we want to make a 20% solution, which is not going to be too strong or not going to be too weak. So if I'm adding 60% here, X number of liters of 60%, and 7.5 liters of 8%, what would be our total quantity for the 20% down here? What would be I'm adding X of this, 7.5 of this. So my total solution in the big beaker would be how many liters? I have X number of 60%, 7.5 of this. How much would I have total in my beakers then? What do we do with these quantities? Add them together. X plus 7.5. Its total strength that we have, once again, we can multiply across 0.20 times X plus 7.5. As we add it down to equal, we can do the same thing over there. We'll do a couple more problems tomorrow. You got a worksheet here. Work on the problems you can work on. We'll finish up our notes tomorrow with this one and another problem tomorrow. And then you'll be able to have time to be able to finish up worksheet in class tomorrow. But see what you can do with respect to the worksheet for today. Adios. Have a good day.